Okay, hi. My name is Amaka Akideno. Today I want to share with you on the topic for this presentation, which is titled Nutrition and the Brain. So today I'll be talking about how the nutrition we eat, how it affects our brain. Um, our brain needs good food to think well, to learn, to remember, and to stay healthy. Now, there's one thing I would like to liken the human brain with, which has to be a plant or a seed. The brain on its own is likened for me to be a plant or a seed because when you water a seed, you give the seed good manure, good soil, and then good environment. It grows, it flourishes, it changes shape with time, and then it begins to bring out its fruit. But when you neglect it, it causes it to wither and it weakens. So the brain for me is likened to is likened to a seed. Uh, Now let's look at what nutrition is to the brain and to the body. Nutrition simply means giving the body the food, the right food that it needs to work properly. Good nutrition helps both the body and the brain to function at its best. Now, why do we need good nutrition? We need good nutrition because the brain itself uses energy from the food we eat to build our brain cells. The brain itself needs nutrients from the food we eat to build its cells. Like a nutrient like vitamins and minerals, they help the brain to think in thinking and also in memory. Good nutrients or nutrition, good nutrition helps the brain to stay sharp and also to stay strong. Now, I would like to bring in my own personal experience that I had before I proceed with this presentation. I think sometime last year I had uh, um, when my husband was about converting his license, so he was reading. He read for so long. He was reading voraciously. And after some time, he discovered that he started having brain fog and he started having high blood pressure. He started having high sugar level. So I think a lot of malfunction or abnormalities were happening to him that period. He couldn't read anymore. He couldn't concentrate. He doesn't know what he was doing. And then after some time, we were able to check him in the hospital. And then they ran some tests on him and discovered that he had diabetes, and then the doctor placed him on medication. So we came back and then we agreed that this is not a disease from anything, rather it's a dietary disease. And for me, I think dietary disease needs to be treated with diets. So I had to place him on a diet. I think the Mediterranean diet and also the keto diet. My husband was on this diet for some time. I think for like almost 3 to 6 months, he was mainly on this diet. And after some time, we checked back. He was given an appointment to check back in the hospital, which he did. And then they discovered that his blood sugar was normal, his blood pressure was normal, his he can now read, and then he can understand, he was not having that brain fog anymore. So he was now okay. There was no need for medication. He didn't take his medication. Rather, he relied on food. He uses diet to treat the 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 issues, the medical issues that he had, the brain fog and everything he has. He had to use medical food, nutrition to treat all of those. I can also remember because currently I work with preschool children, and I can remember vividly that there was this particular child that in my classroom is always in the business of, he's a very hyperactive child, and he's always in the business of hitting other children whenever he's hyper and things like that. So there was this program, there was this training my company at set up for the workers to attend. So we did attend the program, and then they taught us about the Canadian Food Guide on the amount of sugar that children should be taking in a day, and the amount of I think sugar and some things there, how the children's food should be like and all that. And then I discovered that most of their food are mainly good and healthy food for the children. So when we came back from the training, we incorporated this training into our daily menu. And then we discovered that the kid itself started, you know, reducing his way of hitting other children. His hyperactive active nature was not really that obvious. The way he was handling other children became reduced. So I was able to talk to my supervisor, who spoke to the child's parents, that they need to reduce some of the junk food that he brings and add more of vegetables and fruit for him, which they did. And after some time, he was okay. He was not 100% okay, but at least there was a huge improvement in his attitude and in his behavior. So for me, food is very, very vital. Nutrition is very, very vital to our brain, especially nutrition that supports the brain memories, nutrition like omega-3 fatty acid that helps the brain grow and helps with communication. And this kind of uh, nutrient can be found in fish, nuts, and seed. Um, Nutrition like there are also nutrients in some nutrition that has antioxidants that protect the brain cells from damage. And this antioxidant can be found in food like berries, leafy green, vegetables. Food like that has very high quality antioxidant that is very, very good for the brain. And also there are foods too that contains B vitamins that helps with memory, focus and energy. And I think this food can be found in eggs, and also can be found in eggs, whole grains, and beans. There are also healthy fat in some food like avocado and olive oil and nuts that help to support the brain development. And also, while I was doing this research, I came across brain-derived neuro tro I think it's called the brain-derived neurotrophic factor that are gotten from food that is high in protein, that are very good, and they support the survival and growth and maintenance of nerve cells in the brain and in the spinal cord. So these foods, they are very good, they are very healthy for our brains. And how there are certain ways that we must understand that um, food affects our learning and our memories. When we eat healthy food, and it helps us think clearly. Healthy food helps us think clearly. Uh, it helps us remember better. It also helps us have more energy to focus when we read. And also poor nutrition. Poor nutrition can cause tiredness, can also cause forgetfulness, and can cause poor concentration. And like I said, in my own experience, I discovered that my husband, because he has eaten a lot of carbohydrate and he was not exercising, he was locked up in the room, reading voraciously, that made him have brain fog. So good food, good nutrition can make us have good brain memories, can make us think well, can make us develop our brain on how we think, how our brain functions. Now, there are best food for a healthy brain. Not all food are good for the brain. Now, it doesn't mean that you will not eat them, but for me, not all food are good for the brain. There are some food that when you want to help your brain in terms of memory, you want to help your brain in terms of thinking, you want to help your brain in terms of when you read, you understand your cognitive development. There are good food that you can look at. Food that are leafy greens like spinach, like kales, berries, blueberries, and strawberries, nuts and seed, fatty fish like salmon, sardine, and I think mackerel. Those food are very, very good and healthy for the brain. They help the brain because they contain a lot of antioxidants and they have a lot of omega 3 fatty acid. They have healthy fats. I think we also have whole grain like brown rice, oats. They are also good. Egg and beans, water. These are also good food for the brain, not junk food. They are food that when you eat and it helps you to develop it helps to build your brain, it helps you to build energy for the brain to function, it helps to develop your brain cells so that the brain can function properly. Food that can there are some food also that I know that can harm the brain, that are not good for the brain, that it's not advisable even though a lot of people eat them, but at the long run I know that it's harmful to the brain, like sugary food are not really that good for the brain when it's in a very long at a long run. Food that has soda and energy drinks, they are not good for the brain. They are not something that one should always consume every day, every time, at every day and at every time. These are food that once in a while you can have them if you cannot have like that cannot be disciplined enough once in a while, but they are not healthy food that can help the brain. They don't help the brain, rather they help to destroy the brain at the long run. And also processed snack, these are food that are not good for the brain. They cause a lot of brain damages. They cause brain issues at the long run. Fast food that are high in fat and oil, they are something that needs to be avoided. Rather, it's advisable that we eat more of fruits and vegetables and proteins, food that are high in omega 3 fatty acids that helps to build the brain, food that are high in protein. Those kind of food are very healthy food, not the processed food that are very high in fatty and salty food that can easily cause brain fog. Those are food um, that are not good for the brain at the long run. Now, there are some research that backed up this claim. One of the research I can mention here is the Wuji 2016 that talked about dietary protein intake and cognitive performance. I think she mentioned about how to explore dietary, how you can explore dietary, how it helps with your cognitive memory and all that. So healthy diet helps to protect the brain from decline. When you eat healthy diet like the Mediterranean diet, it helps the brain from decline. Good nutrition supports and supports better behavior, and also it supports the mood, the human mood. Yes, it helps to support the mood and emotional balance. It helps to support the mood and emotional balance. People who eat well have better focus and better memory, and also learning performance. They learn very well, they learn properly, they have better retention because they eat healthy meal, they eat healthy diet. There are practical tips that I can give that can also help with nutrition and um, our brain performance. Tips like when you eat a variety of healthy food every day, and then you drink enough water, you add fruit and vegetable to your meal, reduce sugary food, snacks and junk food. Choose whole nutrition, choose whole nutrition, natural food, and more often eat more of food that contains protein and good diet. Those food are good for the brain. They help our brain develop, they helps us retain memories, they helps us with thinking, they helps us on how we learn. Now, I cannot overrule sleeping. For me, sleep is also part of the food that the brain needs. Good sleep in all of what I've said, in everything that I've said. I think sleep as well. It's also a good food for the brain. After much stress of the day, the brain needs to rest. The brain needs good sleep as food to rest. So, in conclusion, nutrition and the brain are clearly close. You cannot separate them. The food you eat, the nutrition you eat, and the brain, they are very close. You can't separate them. So, it is advisable, it is proper for us to eat good food. It is proper for us to eat good diet, good nutrition, to help our brain function properly, to help our brain function the way we want it to function, the way we want it to function and develop. Thank you.